Hello, and welcome to the Mocha Minutes podcast. I'm Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining me. You can find the Mocha Minutes podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, TuneIn, Castbox, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Find us on any of those platforms or wherever else you catch your podcast. Also, still soliciting for ratings and reviews. If you would be so inclined, please leave us some 5 stars. Leave us some reviews. Would greatly appreciate it. Also, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Mocha Minutes on all 3 of those platforms. If you want to shoot me an email, give me some feedback. Other than on those 3 places, you can email me at mochaminutes@gmail.com. Hello and welcome to the Mocha Minutes podcast. I am Stephanie. Thank you for joining me. I think y'all have no idea. I am a whole woman with, I'm counting now 2 baby mamas. One lives in the Midwest. That is Candace. Y'all may know her from Ratchet Ramblings and Flawless Noises. I told her that. I'm like, yeah, you're my Midwestern baby mama. And I have my West Coast baby mama. Y'all know how I feel about her. And one of the babies is here. He'll be joining because he has thoughts and fifis too. So I have Courtney from the C-Dubb Show. Courtney, what is up?
Hi. Happy 2021. Cruzy, you gonna say hi?
Now he don't want to say nothing. See, now he's like, no. I speak on my terms.
Right.
I don't perform for you. You perform for me.
There he goes.
Man.
But yes, hi, I'm here. Happy 2021. 10 days in the 2021.
The first full week. That's right, look at that. It's like the first full week of 2021 is done. And what in the hell? It has been a month.
What the hell?
It's like this has been like it's been a month. Woo! I'm like, it's a week. It's like
we're only a third. We're a third of the way through.
I'm like, who's like this? Man, this month has been long. It's only the 10th. I know what day it is. 2020 was a decade. Okay, I'm like, that was the longest decade ever. It's like it was 1 year. Right. I know. But look, excuse me. This is how long this year was. I remember when Cruz was in Courtney's belly. Okay, it's like I'm like, he's not 25 yet. Like, how old is he?
He'll be getting his braces off tomorrow, so we're all excited for that.
It's like, geez Louise. I'm like, this has been so long.
7th grade's gonna be fun.
It's like it's only been 10 days. It's only literally 10 days in. You would think you would think there would be this excitement because we're all looking for January 20th, 2021, and everybody knows why so it's like you should be like, it should be getting like, oh, this is downhill. That's fine. Do your work. Don't give a goddamn. It's like up. It's like nope. Literally slack jaw yokels and racists and white supremacists in this country have said, excuse me, hold my beer. I'm like, oh no, y'all can't have this. I am no longer comfortable in my life. So I gotta come fuck up your shit.
And by the way,
I really have a question for them. Like, what do you honestly think is going to happen to you under a Joe Biden presidency? He's literally Delaware's favorite great uncle.
Hello?
Nothing's going to happen to you.
Nothing.
Nothing's going to happen to you.
Nothing.
You're white. You're fine.
You're white. I'm like, it's another white man. I'm like, I don't understand why y'all having a problem. It's another white guy. We're in this mess because y'all didn't want to vote for the white lady. Now it's like you got a white guy. Y'all wanted a white guy in the office. We helped y'all. Like, I don't understand. Like, we gave you another white guy. I mean, what?
Like, what do you honestly think Joseph Biden's gonna do to you in the midst of this presidency? All he wants to do is give everyone $200 check or $2,000 checks, which, thankfully, shout out to TurboTax for fucking everybody's shit up. But finally,
I was like, wait, what?
my stimulus landed, thank God. So I am happy. But
I was trying to figure it out. I was like, why? Because I saw people tweeting about it. I'm like, wait, why would they send it to TurboTax? And why would you? Like, wait, what just happened? Why would it go there? I don't.
So the whole debacle was if you use TurboTax or H&R Block and you pay for the deluxe audit coverage, or if you might have a more detailed tax situation, so you need the extension so you're able to do certain things, like profit and loss statements, or if you have maybe multiple jobs and you have to do some things. So they have, a deluxe package that you can purchase. So you have two options. You can either pay for it outright, or you can just have them take the money out of your return.
Okay.
So, or not your return, but your refund. And so if you choose the take it out of my refund option, what they do is TurboTax or H&R Block, they set up an account. So the money, they process your tax return and then they send it to the IRS. The IRS, looks over everything. Okay, cool. This looks great. This person's going to get $1,000 back. So you've opted for TurboTax to take money out of your refund for the deluxe package. So instead of it going straight to you, the IRS then sends it the $1,000 or whatever your refund amount is for. They send it to TurboTax, and TurboTax has a bank account that they collect the refunds in. So say usually the deluxe, what have you, was like $80 or $100. So they receive your $1,000 refund first. They take out their $100, and then they send you your remaining $900. And someone had explained it to me on Twitter, and I'm like, you know what? That is absolutely correct, because when I think about it, when I've gotten my refund on my bank statement, it doesn't say it's from the IRS. It says it's from TurboTax.
Oh,
so that makes sense. So the big thing was, well, why did it happen this time? And this is our second stimulus. Why didn't it happen the time before? And so the thing was, once tax time is over, they close the account. But if you recall, the first stimulus was sent out in, what was that, May, June? So that was still during tax time, right? And of course, they also extended tax time this year to July 15th. So the account was still open. So they received the stimuluses, and TurboTax and H&R Block were able to send them out with no issue because the bank account was still open. At this time, the bank account was closed. So when the IRS tried to issue the stimulus, it bounced back because their accounts aren't open. So it rejected the stimulus payment on behalf of millions of customers. Oh, wow. So then they had to go circumvent, and TurboTax had to go and give all the banking information then to the IRS so they could send it to us directly. So that's what took the extra time. So which was only 4 days, but when you hear people, they started getting their payments December 30th. People were getting stimulus payments already. So, and the official day, the official day was supposed to be January 4th. So ours was 4 days later. But I'm not in a situation where it's like I quote unquote needed the money outside of my health and wellness, and I feel like I'm owed the money from the government from having to deal with this situation. But I can only imagine, like, you know, you've been waiting, you know, you got $1,200 or whatever back in May, June, and now you could possibly have been living off of unemployment, but maybe not. Right. And, you know, like your people have been waiting on that money. And I could just only imagine, like, you hear something like this and it's like, how are y'all fucking up this bad? And, you know, people really, truly, honestly need this money to even just maybe pay a little bill or maybe hold off from an illegal eviction. So that was really like,
because it's like they stopped like I want to say, I'm trying to think of the word is memorandum. I think that's the word they may have been using, but I probably am saying this word incorrectly, where they weren't going to allow states to do evictions, and that expired, I thought, at the end of 2020.
So it depends. So the CDC had issued a moratorium on evictions just because.
Thank you. I was like, what is the word?
Oh yeah, moratorium.
Thank you.
Because I'm like, oh, memorandum's right. A memo is right. But yeah,
I was like, what is it?
They issued so the CDC. So there's a federal eviction moratorium, and then there was different ones by state. So the CDC's, the federal one did expire. It would have been expiring. That would have been December 31st, but they extended it, I believe, until May. And then California, where I am, we have our own stuff that came through our own state legislature. So if anyone's listening and they have concerns, also counties have done, Alameda County has their own protection as well. So luckily where I am, like, we're triply protected because the county, the state, and federal have all implemented different moratoriums and package it. Well, yeah, they package it where you could, you know, there's some rent relief as well. And like the back owed money, even after the moratorium ends, if you owe money between like March and October, which they're probably going to extend to March to December of 2020, you still owe that money, but they can't evict you behind owing that money. They have to work with you to figure out a payment plan. Right. So, but yeah, if anyone's listening and you have concerns about your rights as a tenant, look up any tenants' rights organizations in your state or your county will happily provide you with any of that information. Do not leave your home. You are still protected under a federal order. Do not let your landlord intimidate you out of leaving your home. For non-payment, I will say the caveat is for non-payment due to COVID. If you are running around breaking shit and harassing your neighbors, I cannot protect you. And no one can. If you're being a nuisance, you're not protected. But if it's because of non-payment and you are struggling because of job loss or cutback hours because of COVID, there are protections for you. Please look that up, and please, please, please do not leave your home.
Please don't. Please don't.
Unless you have somewhere safe. I can't tell you to stay, but if you are feeling like, oh, they're going to evict me, they do not have a right to. Do not let them harass you.
Correct.
Please get in contact with a tenants' rights organization. They will help you because landlords have been showing their whole asshole over the past few months. So we are quite familiar with that.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I know, right? Hit Courtney up if you have questions.
Please.
So first, before we get into God knows these topics, but first I want to give some people some roses. And it's really interesting. This is really just interesting now that I think about it. So we buried my grandmother back in December. And she had, of course, when you lose someone, people give you floral arrangements. They also give you plants. And so she had this beautiful floral arrangement. We have sprays for the casket and, flowers all around. The funny thing about it is that my aunt reminded me when I was leaving, because we went back because of like funerals during COVID. It probably was one of the smoothest things that I've ever seen in a funeral. The funeral home did an amazing job with my grandmother. But my aunt was laughing because she's like, it's so funny. Grandma she ain't like fresh flowers. I was like, that's right. She sure didn't. Because anytime somebody gave her flowers, she literally like, girl, you better take these flowers home. Take this home. Take some of these home. Give it to your friend. Give it to like, she would just give it away. So now when I think about giving people their roses, it's like knowing that we gave my grandmother a whole bunch of flowers when she wasn't like, she's no longer here. She didn't like them anyway. It just triggers something different in me. But I want to give my roses because the fact that Georgia went blue and flipped the Senate, I'm giving my roses to Stacey Abrams.
Woo!
Let me tell you something. Y'all, them white people in Georgia, y'all fucked your own selves because all y'all had to do was just let her win governor. You couldn't let her do it. You had to go in and try to fuck this up. And now she's like, oh, I'm going to make sure this never happens to nobody. So not only did Georgia go blue for the presidential election, it went blue and now it is a Democratic Senate, all because you couldn't just let her be governor. Y'all had to cheat. And I'm like, that is just so ridiculous to me. I'm like, see, this is what y'all get. You never win when you play dirty, child. You're like Nene said it. She's been in Atlanta. Never. You never win. You never win. So shout out to Stacey Abrams. Shout out to all. And it was like her and a team. So those women,
yes.
We are going to make sure this never happens. I'm like, see, y'all better hope that nobody ever gives them money to go national. A lot of them red states.
Oh, it's the rap. It's the rap.
Y'all gonna be in trouble.
They can I add to those roses? Mm-hmm. Can I do my roses?
You absolutely can.
Also to Latasha Brown, the founder of Black Voters Matter.
Yes.
Yes, who was also worked alongside Stacey in getting our young Black and Brown people registered, for educating them on the importance of voting, what was at risk if we did not vote. I think I had said earlier on a podcast last year, it might have been with you or with Carolyn, that I had transitioned away from scolding Black people who do not choose to vote, because there's a level of exhaustion there of feeling as if, you're not honored and your vote is not valued. So moving with more empathy, I have stopped doing, if you don't vote, you deserve whatever, consequences you experience. I've gotten out of that, but I am still here for the fight. I will still always advocate for Black voters. That's a value. A part of our family. My great grandmother on my father's side registered Black people to vote in Southeast San Diego. She was walked door to door to register people and made a point to register Black women to vote, who of course have now gone on to be the backbone of the Democratic Party. So having that in my lineage, I love to see it. And making sure that we know our rights as voters, that we are not just registered to vote, but knowing our rights and understanding how those local races, how those runoff races, how those primary races are very, very important. Voter education is so very, very important because that will connect, I think, with people. People, one, don't feel like their votes matter because we see how voter suppression works. But then on the other side, people aren't necessarily educated on who does what, right? On leadership. We don't know, how many people before now didn't know that if the Senate is tied, then the vice president is the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. How many people didn't know that until this race in Georgia, the smaller state in the deep South, went national, and that education and that knowledge was now widespread about how important it is to, have the majority in the Senate if you want to push things through, like hey, a coronavirus stimulus package and how that matters, having a Senate majority that also matches with the House majority. So I am very happy. I'm always proud of Black women. I always celebrate Black women. I'm just very happy and very proud. And I can't wait for them to get sworn in. I don't even know when that's the one thing I can't find. Like, when do they get sworn in? Can they start on Monday? Because we got some things we need to do.
We some things we need you to do.
We got some things.
Can it be effective immediately? I'm like, can it just be effective immediately? Because quite frankly, I'm with you. I'm glad you said that, Courtney, because I was with you. Because for me, it's like voting has always been this really interesting animal for me, because I've never lost sight of the fact that this is just, I'm like, yes, now we are born that we can vote, but I'm like, I know people that are and it's not even that far removed that people in my family couldn't vote, or they were alive before we could vote. So I'm like, for me, it's always been like, I can't just not do it. But I think this year it was like, I've kind of walked back as well. Cause it's kind of like, not only are we fighting voter suppression, we're also fighting voter apathy. And I was like, I can actually sit here and just, like, I just want to say, I'm like, if you're apathetic about voting, it could be because of consistent voter suppression. After a while, you're like, well, what's the point? So it's like,
who wants to go wait in a line for 3-4 hours to vote for something like that? You wearing me out.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I was sitting here like, so I can see that. I'm like, it's both. I'm like, both voter suppression and voter apathy can live without each other, but sometimes they work together. So to see a lot of Black people literally getting, like, using their platforms, using their mouths, doing anything they can to say, they were like, I saw a lot more Black people saying, stay in line. Don't leave. If you are in line, they have to let you cast your vote. It's like, they have to. So like, so don't.
Which is a direct contrast of what the person occupying the Oval Office at this time was saying, that people were allowed to vote after closing. So then trying to say that, and of course, a lot of those lines that we saw in Georgia and around the country, right? A lot of those long lines to vote are in predominantly Black and brown areas.
Correct.
And those folks who are rushing over at 6, 7, and 7:30 are usually getting off work. They've got to pick up their kids. They have to go and do things before they could really head over there to vote. So now they're in line and the polls have closed, but because they were in line before polls closed, they still have to be honored. But see, it's like the indirect way, the very direct.
You let them people vote at 8:30. Well, they've been in line since 6:15. So yes, they are. And because you've closed how many different voting locations in this precinct, right? Over the past 5, 6, 10 years, 20 years, there used to be 4 voting locations. Now there's just 1. So it was a lot of fuck shit going on. And it's like, you could see the writing once you know and see the game, you can see how they try to manipulate it. Oh, let's throw out all the votes that came in after 8 o'clock, knowing that some of those people have been waiting for 2 and 3 hours. But most of those votes are coming from Black precincts, and most of those votes are going to be Democratic. So they tried. They really tried. You tried, and you tried to take a shot. You tried to take a shot, and you missed.
Right.
So it's like, I'm like, Black women have been showing out, basically showing what we have been saying for years. Black women are the cornerstone of the Democratic Party. And then you're saying
the nation.
Right.
The nation.
So you're just sitting here like, you do realize y'all couldn't have did this without us, right? Y'all weren't going to get on out there. It was us. So it's like, I'm glad y'all finally recognizing that.
And of course, Stacey has been working on this. Her specifically, she's been working on, her and Fair Fight and Latasha. They have been working on increasing voter registration of Black and brown people, of Black and brown young people, the shifting demographics in Georgia towards being younger, people of color, more progressive leaning individuals. They have been working on this, since Stacey's gubernatorial race ended how it ended. Yeah. And so this has been a long time coming, but to look at it, 2 years isn't really that big. That's not a big time frame to have this major shift. I mean, Georgia is Georgia and the South is the South. And they were able to honestly flip. I mean, like what we just saw is historic.
What's wrong, Tinker Man?
To say, just swallowing his own spit, can't handle himself. Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong, Tinker Man? What's going on, Tinker Man? He's like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. To be able to flip not only in a presidential race when you have an absolute cartoon villain running for president,
cartoon villain,
an adult, but David, I really want to point out how now Kelly Loeffler is an evil Stepford robot. So she was weird. So that was just like, I feel like Reverend Warnock, again, just looked like a normal, nice human being next to her very weird, cold veneer.
Right.
But I really want to point out how difficult it was for John Ossoff to go up against. David Perdue comes from a very well-known political Georgia family, like running back generations. He's very well connected. One of his relatives is in the Trump administration, Secretary of Transportation. Don't get me to lying. So David Perdue, and of course, we all know that both him and Kelly Loeffler are very wealthy. So this is monumental on so many different levels. Oh, Sonny Perdue is David Perdue's cousin. He's currently the Secretary of Agriculture. So that's the type of family David comes from.
Oh, good Lord. Oh my God.
Yeah. What? It's a very well-connected family. And so being able to just not flip Georgia for the presidential race, but to flip 2 Senate seats and to get 2 Democrats in there going up against who they went up against is amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that both of them worked with John Lewis was like, oh,
yes.
Okay. Yes. Like, oh, we're here to play. Oh, okay. Got it. We're here. I was like, we're here. It's like, great. Yes. So that means, because I think when it comes to like, white Democrats, there's always that breath you take, like, you're a Democrat, but you're still a white person. So I'm still a little wary of you. But then you look at the people that they're around and you just go, oh, okay, you were around John Lewis. So he probably helped you see a lot more things. Kind of like what happened with Hillary, because Hillary has a lot of Black women around her. And I didn't know that until I watched her documentary. I'm like, damn, you really do be keeping Black women around you, don't you?
Because we be knowing. We be knowing.
Like, you be knowing. I'm glad they helped, because I'm like, yes, thank you. Child. I'm just
still mad that I feel like we haven't been able to celebrate them and this win. Of course, we knew that night that Reverend Warnock had won, but then the counting for John Ossoff ran into January 6th, and where they then called the race for him. But of course, other things were happening. So it felt like we didn't get settle and
we couldn't
celebrate.
Even celebrate this without something else coming up. Like, right. Well, what the hell? I'm like, can we oh yeah, y'all like,
I feel like we haven't been able to properly celebrate the fact that we have a Black woman as vice president. I feel like I have not been able to properly celebrate that.
To put that
because of all the drama that's been going on. And I feel very mad about that, because it's like, you're stealing my joy. Right. I don't appreciate that shit.
I feel very cheated, because it's like when Barack Obama was elected, We got to celebrate for months.
Yeah,
but
that
with
was a whole
Kamala,
move.
we don't have we can't even do this because that asshat has not conceded, and he said he wasn't going to, and he's not coming to the inauguration. We don't want you there, but it's like,
but like,
still, though,
I'm like, were you invited? It's like it's secure. First
like,
of all,
good. Hi, we didn't want you there anyway, but
like security like needs to have been escorting you off the grounds anyway, because
like I want them to pull you by your ankles as you like grab his ankles and drag him out, because that man, do a jazz throw, like something. Yeah. It's like, I need something. I'm like, I need something dramatic, because this is just like, this is unprecedented. This is unheard of. It's like the last time a sitting president did not go to the inauguration was in the 1800s. I'm like, sir, why would you want to why do you want to make this kind of history?
Right.
Like, girl, okay. So let's start low key. Speaking of Kamala Harris is on the cover of Vogue for February.
Hey.
I was like, ooh, so there are two photos floating out with Kamala. So one is the one that she actually okayed, apparently also Anna Wintour okayed, which is of her in a powder blue suit. And it is beautiful. Like, she looks beautiful. The one that people are seeing is not the one that, apparently there's two different covers. They're saying it's two. So one cover, Kamala looks graceful. It's like a gold background. She has on a powder blue suit and she has her arms crossed. So this is the one they're saying that should be the cover. But that is not the one that is going around. There is one going around that is pink and green, and she has on her Chuck Taylors, and I believe it's a black or navy blue suit. I'm like, I can't tell by the colors. And people are like, I cannot believe y'all put Kamala Harris in this, and this is the cover that you guys are using. So I have seen both photos. So I think the one in the powder blue suit is the one that they are using. That's going to be, because it's for the February issue. So it's probably going to be for that one. But yeah, okay. I'm looking at it better. It looks like it's a black suit. So she's got on her, her Chuck Taylors, they're black and white, and it's the suit. And she's standing, it's like a green, and then it's a pink silk thing that she's standing on. So I don't know if that was like a ode to the fact that she is actually an AKA. So those would be her colors.
Right.
So I don't know which cover they're going to be using for the actual print magazine. I don't know if this is going to be the digital copy. Who knows? Who cares? I've seen people who actually are AKAs who actually did like the pink and green one because it was pink and green as their colors. So I see both. They're like, oh my God, this is whack. I'm like, she deserves a better photo. I'm like, I've seen the powder blue photo because somebody like had a thread. I think it was Yasser Ali was like, okay, so the one they okayed is her in a powder blue suit. And people are like, what suit? I'm like, so yeah, I've seen that picture too. So I've seen both. I'm not exactly sure which one is going to come up on the magazine. But I just like seeing Kamala Harris. It's like, I'm all about it. The fact that she is on the cover of Vogue, it's like, yeah, I'm all about it.
And she's from out here with me.
Mm-hmm.
She was born in Oakland. She grew up in Berkeley, but she be claiming Oakland. But I guess we just let her. They're neighboring cities. It's fine. I mean,
we let you claim that. Okay. We let you claim it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, girl. Like, it's fine. And then, of course, like, she, went to Canada and then went on to Howard. But yeah, she's from out here. Homegirl from out here. Her and Cruz actually were born at the same hospital.
Aww.
Yes, Oakland Kaiser. Yes. Yes, you. Yes, you were born there.
So it looks like, so I guess Tyler, what's wrong, man?
He needs a diaper change, so I'm going to mute.
Okay, that's fine.
Get loud.
That's fine. So while you're doing that, so Tyler Mitchell was the photographer. I believe he is a photographer, and he is the one who did the covers for her. And the ones that he had put on his social media was of him in the powder blue suit. So the both are out there. I have a feeling that the pink and green and her, and it looks like black. I'm trying to say black. It probably was them testing the lighting. I have a feeling, and that's what it is. I'm just very excited about she's on the cover of Vogue. She is being interviewed by a woman by the name of Alexis Okewo. So I'm all about it. We got a Black photographer. I'm actually assigning blackness to this person that I don't know what she looks like, but for some reason I'm assigning blackness to her. But yeah, I'm all about this very blackety black photo. I get what people are saying because we want to see our folks in the best light. We never. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, she is black. Never mind. I just looked her up. She is African. Okay, so we just want to show it in our best light, and I get it. It's like I hear y'all. I actually don't mind the pink and green, but the gold background with the powder blue is phenomenal. So I believe that's the one that they're using. Next thing in low key is Carrie Hilson has decided that we can't just be quiet. We can't just do this thing where we sit over there and eat our food, order from the Uber Eats. We have decided that we're going to talk about things because she is a damn bird. And I really wish she would just like go back to posting thirst traps on her Instagram because she is stunning, and also tying cherry stems with her tongue. Ma'am, stick to that. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Please do not go chasing waterfalls because I'm kind of sick of people like dunking on you and always reminding us that if your career would be a lot bigger if you had just shut the fuck up about Beyonce. I'm like, see, you could have been like Rihanna. You could have been like Sierra. Okay, that's rude probably because Sierra is Sierra. And I actually kind of like Sierra. I like Sierra as, you know, Russell Wilson's wife and how cute and beautiful their kids are. I just kind of like that, but I also like her music. So it is what it is. So, and we'll get into this when we get into high key, but Donald Trump has been what seems like after everything that happened at the Capitol with an O building, he is slowly but surely being deplatformed from everything. So, his Twitter handle, not the POTUS Twitter handle, but his personal Twitter handle, Real Donald Trump, has been suspended from Twitter. And all of a sudden you saw everybody else deplatforming him. So Miss Carrie decided to get all up on her IG story. I really don't understand why she took a break from the cherry stems because I feel like she could teach a class, but
she's pregnant. So now she's transitioning into
goddamn
what will probably be her being an anti-vaxxy type of mom. She is QAnon light, it seems. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So she decided to put this on her Instagram. It was a screenshot of Donald Trump's Twitter handle being suspended, and she said, "This may be funny, but it is a little dangerous too. Take Trump out of it for a moment. A democracy must include freedom of speech. Imagine other leaders or popular figures not being able to voice their opinion if it opposes the majority of world leaders. Our freedom of speech being taken from us, slowly but surely, censorship. If the leader of the free world can be removed, imagine that same right of citizens. Imagine believing every time you read false information detected and propaganda, deceptive reports, and flat out lies being the only thing we see." So here's the fun thing about that, Carrie. Niggas actually get their accounts suspended. Why are you acting like he don't? It's like, so hi. They've been letting this man cook for 4 years.
But not even 4, right? Not even 4. So people are like, look at the drama. Yeah, look at the drama he's caused over the past 4 years. This motherfucker was on Twitter in 2011 spreading birther conspiracies about President Obama. Like, he's been a nuisance on Twitter and they let him thrive. So she can really, if a world leader can get booted off, yes, a world leader should also have to follow the terms and conditions that he signed up for. He should not get a pass because he's a world leader. That doesn't even make any sense what she's saying. Should he get a pass to say whatever the fuck he wants to and incite violence? Ma'am, people died. Girl. People died, ma'am.
People are dying, Kim. It's like people are dying. What in the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, and I need
this
y'all
is the hill you want to die on.
This is the hill. I'm like, I promise you, it's never Donald Trump in no form of fashion is ever the hill that you need to die on, especially when there are people who went to that coup and did die. I'm like, see, he's not the hill to die on. And it's like, baby, ma'am, I know you got some time. We all in the Panasonic and we got downtime. So I Google freedom of speech and what that actually fucking means. It does not mean you can get up on Twitter and say whatever you want. It means that legally you don't face legal prosecution. That's literally what this means. It doesn't mean you like, so when dudes like freedom of speech, why can't I say it? Yeah, you can call me a nigger all you want, but if I punch you in the face, it's like, don't say nothing. Like freedom of speech. Yeah, that's
consequences to your free. Also, just reiterating, Twitter is a private entity. When you sign up for the account, you
terms and conditions.
Terms and conditions.
Except.
So if you violate those terms and conditions, and again, they can a private entity can also change their terms and conditions at any point in time. And if you've agreed to them, like they'll send you, you get them all the time. They'll send you an update. Like we've updated our terms and conditions.
Correct.
So they can change it at any time. So if you violate the terms and conditions with a private entity, yes, they can remove you from their platform, their company, their business, their brick and mortar. This is no different. Someone on the news, and I forget their name, and I wish I did. She was on The Week with Joshua Johnson. This is no different than if you go into a restaurant and you start fucking up the mood and acting a whole ass fool, and the restaurant asks you to leave, and then you're no longer allowed in that location. This is literally no different than this. Literally no different than someone getting kicked out of a club and then banned from the club from fucking shit up. This is no different. This is not him being silenced. He still has access to the internet. He has an up and running campaign website. He could get on and just post all of his videos or post notes to that website. He's still able to reach people. He has a fucking press room in his house. He can call a press conference.
Hello, can we talk about that part?
No one is silencing him.
Like he's being silenced. I'm like, you do realize he's the president of the United States, and he can literally call a press conference. He can actually like stop everything on like primetime television and say, I'm going to hold a press conference, and every news station is going to turn it on. What do you do? He's the president.
If he was literate past, third grade book report level, he could write an op-ed and put it in a paper. Like he could start his own newspaper.
And people they would publish it too. They were like, here's what the president said. I'm like, why are you doing this? If he could
write an op-ed and send it to the Times and they would run it, and it could say whatever. Now they would fact check him for sure, but he can write an opinion piece. He can create a blog. He has access to all this money. He has access to all this technology. And to note on Parler, Ivanka Trump has a post encouraging people to buy a mug because they're fundraising for the Trump News Network. The man is not being silenced. And he Twitter not wanting to deal with his bullshit. And see, this is what it came down to. Because, like we've said, people have died. Twitter is like, when the shit hits the fan and people start suing for wrongful death, we're not going to get caught up in the shit where it's like we allowed people to organize a deadly attack. Because that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to, obviously, people being personally responsible for their actions, right? But Twitter and whatever platforms people use that can be moderated, that weren't properly moderated, that allowed all this to thrive, are going to be found liable. I can already see it. Correct. So they're trying to get rid of him, get rid of the QAnon folks, get rid of the MAGA folks who are specifically, and mind you, you can go on there and find you someone, a MAGA person right now. Not everyone's being removed, but the people who are obviously organizing insurrection at the Capitol, no, you've got to go. You can't, you can organize your crazy shit if you want to, but you can't do it here. That's what Twitter's doing. That's what everybody else is doing. We're not going to have this blood on our hands when it comes down to it.
Correct.
So that's what it's about.
Right. I'm sitting here like, Carrie, you could have just been, girl, shut the hell up. And it was like, I want to know why I'm seeing so many black people. I'm acting like it's a treasure trove. I'm like, I'm sorry, but if it's more than one black person saying something like fuck shit like this, I'm like, yeah, that's one too many. Like, why are y'all doing this? Y'all literally making this the hill y'all want to die on for Donald Trump, this man who literally would step over you to get somewhere. I know y'all fucking lying. It's like, are you kidding? You're doing this for someone who don't give a shit about you, has never gave a shit about you in the whole 4 years he's been in fucking office. He damn sure ain't been claiming about black people since the 90s. But sure, let's make this the hill you want to. Let's talk about censorship. Censorship, literally, how many tweets have he done since his presidency that is dangerous and inciting violence? And people have been screaming and begging for him to be removed. And it's like, they keep reporting the tweets. They just started adding in the fact checker in the last few years. I'm like, he's
like October.
It was like
literally.
I'm like,
October.
excuse me, this is wrong. I'm like, oh, thank you, Twitter. Thanks for that.
And that was only just like with COVID stuff initially.
Right.
That was only with. It wasn't even with election.
Right. It was just COVID.
Fraud.
Okay, so
It was just
guys. Right. It was like that's all y'all did. It's like, please leave us alone. It's like, yeah. So fuck Carrie Hilson. I mean, she's beautiful. Pretty Girl Walk is still a bop to me. I think she makes she tried to make the bops. I mean, she made the bips, not the bops, it seems. But, you know, it's like, girl, shut up. She deleted it. It's like, baby, you took too long to delete it.
Because we all seen it now.
We all seen it. And it's like, you got too many eyes on your Instagram for you to be like, let me do it after a couple of hours. I'm like, oh, girl, so millions of people have seen it by then. It's like, but yeah, you can go to eternal hell, okay, with Karen Huger. I'm sorry. That's rude. Yeah, we don't want Karen Huger in eternal hell, but we don't want you in casual hell for this. We want you in eternal hell. Take that censorship discussion to eternal hell. Okay. The last thing in low key is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh Lord.
In his whole office decided to make a 7-minute video speaking out against what happened on Wednesday, and also brought up the fact that a lot of people probably didn't notice. I mean, he does say he's from Austria, so I'm not sure why we all didn't understand this, but apparently his father was a Nazi soldier. He brought up Kristallnacht, which is the 1938 Nazi attack against Jewish people, homes and synagogues. I think it was called Bloody Wednesday. He used the term, and the Day of Broken Glass. That is what the Kristallnacht. Yes. So he brought that up. He was just like, Wednesday was America's Kristallnacht, and I'm like, I'm black, so I'm gonna have to think about this for a minute. I feel like it's not.
We've had a few Kristallnachts before.
It's like they're like, this is for America, and I'm like, it's 2020, so I know for a fact that something else worse happened than this, but.
I mean, if we're talking about now, there haven't been attacks against the government, but what you've had are racially motivated, devastating attacks on Black people. Can we say
the Trail of Tears? I'm like, is that a Kristallnacht? Could we assume that?
I mean, you're not like on
white people. Oh, we're including white people.
Ongoing.
We could talk about the Tulsa massacre. Talk about civil rights movement.
The more apartments being just bombed. Like, I am so confused what.
I don't know, but yeah, he got on he did 7 minutes. I will say that I didn't necessarily hate the video. I thought it was fine. I think it's very interesting that Arnold Schwarzenegger seems to be the Republican he seems to be the conservative Republican or even conservative Republican that all conservatives and Republicans act like they are. It's like, so you're not Arnold in this thing, because Arnold Schwarzenegger has been talking about redlining for a few years. And it's like, that's really interesting coming from a conservative. So it's really interesting to watch GOP folks act like Arnold Schwarzenegger when they don't. It's like, so you don't talk the way that he does. He literally said, don't fucking vote for this man. He's like, I think for the 2016, he wrote in John Kasich because he wasn't voting for Donald Trump. It's totally different 2016 than it is 2020. I have a feeling he voted for Joe Biden. This is when you know shit is fucked up. When Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who don't talk about politics, made a whole fucking video and said, I'm voting for Joe Biden. And people literally like, fuck you, I'm unfollowing you. It's like,
I don't care.
His daddy is black. I'm like, why are y'all acting like his daddy ain't black? I'm like, you, and his mama is Polynesian. What are you doing? He is not your white dude. I know he is one of my favorite impossible white men in movies, but he definitely is a black man, and he has no problem telling your ass that either. But still it. So it's so interesting to watch a very comprehensive 7-minute video, him bringing up the fact that his father was a Nazi soldier, which is like Austria, right? He is from Austria. I don't know why it blanks you out because it's like we're so used to him being here. Mind you, how long has he been from Austria and he still has an accent? How long have you been in America and you still talk like this? But it is what it is. But yeah, I appreciate his words because after a while, I'm like, I'm tired of black people speaking and y'all don't fucking listen to us. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all white people speak because y'all need to talk about this. Because what happened on Wednesday is like, y'all need to talk about this. Can
we talk about how they are thugs and cop killers? Like, what?
They are domestic terrorists. Use the whole words because I think people, was it Mitch McConnell who called them thugs? And they're like, Mitch? I'm like, oh, so no, really? Oh, you're not thugs because you're so we're going to act like you're right. Oh, so we're going to act like you're not doing treason. Oh, it's not treason when you do it. Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's up on his Twitter. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not with the shits. He ain't been with the shits for like 3.5, 4 years. I just want to let y'all, maybe actually 5 years, because he was doing it before Donald Trump got elected. He's been talking about redlining for a very long time. I'm like, I'm glad he's actually putting this out because black people knew this. Black people knew what redlining was. A lot of white people act like they didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. They're like, what do you mean? What's redlining? Oh, that's not what happened. He would never do that. I'm like, you are under this impression that when it came right down to it, white people were not terrible to people that were not white in this country. They did everything they possibly could to make sure that people who were not white in this country could not eat where they wanted to, live where they wanted to, get bank loans to buy homes. They did not want them to have anything. They wanted you to be like, look, if we don't give you stuff, maybe you'll go back to wanting to be slaves. And then we can have status quo back to this. Like, you're under the impression that y'all ancestors, some of y'all friends' ancestors weren't terrible pieces of shit. And you need to stop like measuring racism by how many racial slurs they've used. That is not what racism is. Thank you, Cruz. That's right. You tell them. It's like, let me tell you something. I'm like, I got words for y'all. I got words and vowels and babbles. Okay. Like, I'm tired of y'all. We tired of your shit. Okay, so let's slide into mid-key, and we already mentioned this already, but Georgia, red-ass Georgia, that people forgot was red-ass Georgia because all them Atlanta housewives live there. They're like, it's not a blue state, y'all. It's the South. It's a very red state. But Georgia has now turned blue because of the 2 runoff elections. And because Georgia has finally turned blue, they have flipped the Senate, and now the Senate is back to being blue. So for people who did not watch Schoolhouse Rock or crack open a book or pay attention in, civics class in high school.
Social studies in elementary.
Oh, very true. We talk about how bills and laws are passed. I think a lot of people who have been yelling at Nancy Pelosi to fix shit are really forgetting the part that, one, Nancy is over the House. She's not over the Senate. So it goes from the House. If it's passed in the House, it goes to the Senate. If it's passed in the Senate, it gets signed by the president. So that is how laws work for us. If you want, I implore you all to Google, I'm just a bill. It's a Schoolhouse Rock little ditty. Y'all should look it up. It literally simplified everything about how bills work. So throughout this whole pandemic, people have been yelling at House Democrats to get us a stimulus package, not realizing they have put up maybe 2, 3, or 4. And every time it got to the Senate, they said absolutely fucking not. So the one that happened for the $1,200 back in April and May and June, I have no idea what kind of rob Peter to pay Paul things the House had to do to get this shit passed. Not my business. So to watch that they are saying this is why Georgia was so important for these runoff elections, because they knew we're not going to get no shit done with Biden in the office. It wasn't just about getting Biden there. I'm like, we need other people. We need more teeth. Our dinosaur needs more teeth. It's not just the president. The president is a figurehead for our country, but Congress is who really makes shit move. So we needed Georgia. So yeah, Black voters turned out for Georgia. So the runoff happened on January 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, January 5th, because January 4th was Monday. So January 5th, it was called. So but I'm sorry, this is just, I'm getting emotional. I don't know why. So Reverend Raphael Warnock, he won that night. And he took over, believe her name is Kelly Loeffler. She took his spot. Now, Kelly Loeffler had been there a long time. And then she said some really racist stuff, not realizing you have a whole bunch of Black people in Atlanta. And also there was an Atlanta WNBA team who said, yeah, vote for the other person. I don't know what the fuck she thought was going to happen. So she lost her seat to Reverend Raphael Warnock. And then David Perdue lost his seat to John Ossoff, but he wasn't confirmed until the next day because they were still counting because his race was too close to call. I think when I stopped looking at it, maybe it was like 11:30. They said it's too close to call. We can't call the race yet. I was like, oh, okay. But they had already called Raphael Warnock's race. So now here it is. We have it. Senate flips blue. We know that by Wednesday morning, but we know by Wednesday afternoon, white supremacists were like, hold my beer. Because all of that was eclipsed. The fact that we have like Senate, like we now back to having a blue Senate and a blue House was eclipsed by the fact that white people are like, how dare you not just let us do whatever the fuck we wanted to do? Because we not. Have a good day. It's like, I don't know what you want us to say. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So can I just tell you, Uber Eats is very interesting because I ordered from like a place called Seasons Pizza, and they're on Uber Eats, but their actual restaurant does the delivery. And so he was calling, I'm like, huh? I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, and then he's like, oh, hi, this is from, because he left his voicemail and it's like, I couldn't hear what the hell he was saying. Then he called back and I was like, hello. He's like, oh, this is the guy from Seasons. I'm like, oh, because I totally forgot. It's like, how did
you order food?
Right. I totally forgot. I was like, oh yeah, I sure did. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So that's so funny. But yeah, so we should be celebrating the fact that we have a blue Senate, but it means we have a blue Congress finally, after so many god awful years.
Lord.
Now we have a full blue Congress. Because it was like, it's a big deal that we got a blue house. And it was like, we had to rob Peter to pay Paul to get to that. But that was eclipsed by what happened on, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, the day of broken glass. And in our country, when they stormed the Capitol with an O. I'm going to keep saying with an O because that's been fucking people up. It's kind of like your and accept and accept. It's been fucking people up. I'm like, I don't understand, but sure. Okay. But yeah, shout out to Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. They both worked with John Lewis. So that is good ground that he sowed into. So I'm very excited for that. And I am excited for all of the organizers in Georgia, including Stacey Abrams and all of the organizations who got out the vote. Black people did that. It's like, we are the minority. We definitely are a minority in this country. However, our voices and our votes matter. And I'm so glad that people are starting to see that because one, people focus on the electoral college and they say, see, this is why our votes don't matter. I'm like, it technically does. It's just a fucked up roundabout way in the electoral college. But when it comes to local races, yeah, we don't have no electoral college for that. It's literally like everybody's vote matters. And that is all we wanted to focus on. It's like, I get why people think that the electoral college doesn't matter. I'm like, but it's also the electoral votes are dictated about the majority of votes in that state. So it's like, it's weird, but also the reason why we have electoral college is because of white supremacy. So we're not, this is not the pod for that. I mean, I feel like there should be a pod for that, but right now we're not going to talk about what the electoral college is and why we have them and why white people hate black people voting. It's not today, maybe.
Or why it was racist to begin with and how it was even formed was around slavery. But yeah, we won't get into that.
Yeah, we're not today, honey. I feel like maybe after January 20th, but so not today. Next story. We are going to talk about, I have not talked about this yet. We're going to talk about Soho Karen, aka Miya Ponsetto. So, everybody who doesn't remember, there was a video in New York about a young woman with I'm not saying young woman, a woman, fuck that, with a mask on, screaming at a child. The boy is 14, but of course he's tall because he's just tall. It's like, so if you see a tall black boy, you think that he's a man. And it's like, so he's still 14. He's still 12. I don't care about his height. He is still a child. So she is screaming at him because she said that he stole her phone. They're in a hotel lobby. The hotel is named the Arlo Hotel. She's screaming at him. His father, who is a jazz musician, came down and started recording. He said, "What are you doing?" So apparently homegirl also physically attacked this boy and stepped in.
Jumped on his back.
Right. Jumped on him, tackled him. The father then manhandled her or pushed her to the ground. Not exactly sure what happened, but she's like, he attacked me. And I'm like, after you put your hands on his son. It's like, yeah, no, you're not going to hit my kid. So she's screaming, they took my phone. He took my phone. And she was like, he could just show it. Just show me the phone. And he's like, he doesn't have to do that. And I want to know why. Right. Like, hotel management was there. I don't know if it was the actual manager or just a receptionist or manager on duty. I don't know why. But I have no idea why nobody in that situation could be even keeled and just say, well, ma'am, are you sure that's your phone? We could just call the phone. It's like, what's the number? I can call the number right now. But no one did that. Y'all just let this crazy woman just start yelling. Then fast forward, apparently her dumbass left it in an Uber. The Uber brought it back to the hotel because that apparently was the last person he dropped off. And that was the last person he'd been. He's like, this probably belongs to somebody. So she got her phone back. The little boy that's 14 had an iPhone 12. He did not steal your fucking phone. It's like, you just see him with a phone and say, oh, he must have stolen it. So,
but it's like, I just feel like too, like, what were the chances that her phone and his phone looked exactly alike? Like, iPhone aside, right? Like,
right.
The chances that just because you have an iPhone, like I have an iPhone, but my
you have a cover on it. You have a cover.
Yeah, I have a cover on it. Like, the chances that it was like, say, maybe like they both have a white iPhone is just, I just feel like, did you think it was the exact same phone? Like, he didn't have any distinct markings or any distinct covering or anything that, like, it matched your phone exact. I just have a hard time believing that it matched her phone exactly. I just don't believe that for 1 second. I think also, if you run through this woman's background, her and her mother have had issues with disorderly, disruptive, or violent conduct in other hotels and other locations. And even when she was apprehended the other day in Ventura, she was trying to fight the police she was trying to break away and get free, even though she was under arrest. So she's violent. She's she obviously has an issue with addiction. but a couple of the other instances, her and her mother were drunk in the middle of the day, being loud and disorderly at locations.
Yep.
So she's, they have issues with alcohol and probably drugs. Because I just don't see alcohol making you that damn paranoid. So I'm gonna say that's drugs.
I feel like it's something
I don't
else.
have no proof.
Yeah.
Because
she seemed very tweaked out to me, and I was like, "What the fuck is going? Why are y'all entertaining him?" Like, you're lucky that boy's mama wasn't there, because I think she would have beat your ass,
girl.
It's like I'm like I would have. I've been like, hold up, I'd have beat her ass. It's like period.
I just find it overwhelmingly offensive that she even. I mean, I don't know how many people have seen the security footage of him, circumventing her attacks. She's all trying to get all in his face.
Yeah.
Finally gets around her and gets free. She chases after him and then hops on his back. And the fact that she thinks that was somehow appropriate, but a parent, man, woman, whomever, a parent defending their child wouldn't warrant her getting her ass tossed. He tossed me on the ground. Yes. He was
because you attacked his child. It's like, man, you lucky his mama wasn't there, because I swear, I'd have beat her ass, period.
And then that's my other point. His father probably exercised restraint in that situation.
He knew.
Because she's white, he's black, and you don't know when the police are going to show up. So you don't want to be, and they might have not been there to see what had happened to lead up to that, right?
Correct.
You might be in a situation, he throws her to the ground, he just taking off on her, and then the police show up, and it just looks like a black man is beating up a defenseless white woman. So he probably exercised as much restraint as he could.
Yeah.
Because he was a black man and she was a white woman. But trust and believe, if that would have been a mother,
oh boy!
Now that it's woman to woman,
it would have been a scene. It'd have been a scene.
She would have been taken to. There would be no interview with Gail. She'd be having her ass laid up right next to a COVID patient in ICU, struggling to breathe. Ma'am, I don't know.
Absolutely,
no, she would have gotten choked the fuck out by me. I don't know what you think. And then in the midst of it all, right? Like, you're accusing my child of being a thief on top of anything. And since he's a child, it's like, I bought him that phone.
Correct.
You're blaming my child for
like,
your
I know I bought him that phone. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. I know I bought you that phone. So you're assuming that, one, we don't have the ability to get our children nice items. You're accusing my child of being a thief. You're blaming him for your, I'm sure, drug or alcohol induced lapse in awareness and leaving your phone in a damn Uber. So, and she's, oh, well, how would you feel if your phone was lost and you couldn't get in touch with your family?
I would not.
If my phone was actually,
baby, call your phone company. Ask for a new phone. My phone is lost. That's all you have to do.
You're in New York. You're in New York. Go to the Apple store and get a new phone, bitch. It's not that serious.
I know you got insurance. You could just go. I know you not.
Rack your shit up on the cloud and just go get a new phone, weirdo. It's not.
My iPhone is on the phone. This is not your phone. I'm like, that's why I'm sitting here like, why didn't anybody just call the phone? I'm calling your number right now. It is not his phone. Ma'am, get out of his face. It's like, it's not your phone. All you had to do was call the number. Like I feel like, yeah,
it's like, I don't even know why it's not even clear like why she targeted him outside of
all those people coming in and out. This was not like some random, this wasn't even late at night. This is during the day. So there was other people going in and out. Why did you pick out this 14-year-old boy? It's like why?
It's just really not clear like why she even thought it was him. And then on top of it all, she lost the phone. It wasn't even actually stolen, right? It's
your phone. You got your phone.
Yeah, you misplaced it. So yeah, she's
that family's getting a civil suit.
She's a knock.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She's a knock.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I don't know if you heard the news. Her friend came out and said she wasn't racist because some years ago when he was with Kylie, she slept with Tyga. So
okay, so let's go here. So everybody saw the interview, the clip. It's not the whole interview. Apparently, the whole interview is coming out tomorrow for Good Morning America. But Gail had a clip of the interview. Now, a lot of people are quick to tell minority. So I believe that she is either Hispanic or Latinx, and everybody's like, she can't be racist because of this. I'm like, let me explain something to you. Anti-Blackness is in every race on this earth, including Blackness. Please stop acting like Mexican people cannot be racist. They can be. Hispanic people cannot be racist. Yes, they can be. Or better yet, that anti-Blackness is a river that everybody swims in. And for people to actually, you like, oh, she's not racist because she had black dick. I'm like, that means she just likes fucking black dick. That does not mean she likes black people. Please stop using your sexual past to actually condone to actually argue against racism. I'm not racist because I fucked Tyga. That means you fucked some black dick. Like, what are you doing? That does not
also
mean you like black people.
Also, Tyga's a rich celebrity, so
like it's like celebrity dick is not the same thing. It's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't care about your sexual past and how many non-white dicks you have sucked or put in your ass or had in your pussy. I don't give a shit. That does not mean anything. Fuck you. It's like, no, she's racist and also she's disrespectful. Because during that interview, she put up her hand to the screen because, of course, she's back in California. They didn't arrest her till she got back. Homegirl got to leave New York and go home to California. And then they pinched her and brought her back. That bitch got to go home. If it was the other way around, this man had assaulted her. Y'all wouldn't have been letting him leave the city. She got to leave the whole fucking state and get on a plane and go home. It's like, you know what? No. Ooh. So homegirl put up her hand and said, enough to Gail. And that was the end of the clip. And then you heard this audible, oh, and it was from the white correspondent that was sitting on that panel. It wasn't, Gail just shook her head. I'm like, see, this is the thing. You got you actually sat up in Gail King's face and said, I'm 22. I am young. I was like, he's 14. Why are you acting like because you are young, you should get a pass, but you're talking about you assaulting a 14-year-old? Yeah, I hope that family gets their civil case together because they really do need to. It's like, I don't care using your age. And apparently she had on a hat called Daddy. And it's like her lawyer was like, I didn't want her to wear the hat. Bitch, there is nothing. Why didn't you prep your client to tell her that she should come here apologetic and say, I made a mistake? No, you actually were trying to sit here and be vindicated like your name is Monique Samuels and you got a bird in your house. It's like, girl, fuck you. You fucked up. You should have came here like I fucked up.
Very weird.
It was like, why are you acting like you're the victim here? You put your hands on this boy. Yeah, I hope that
like you could have literally did anything.
Anything else? Did anything else? So many other things you could have flipped. You could have flipped to other than I'm gonna attack this little boy because he stole my phone. I'm like, what are you doing, girl? What are you doing? How would he have access to your phone? The only way that you can actually say that he stole is if he took it right out your goddamn hand, which is not what happened. So explain to us how you got here. I would say, is it crack? It's probably not. It seems like you're tweaking out on meth. You probably sniffed some bath salts. I don't know what the fuck you doing, but girl, you got somebody full circle fucked up if you think that any parent would see you putting your hands on their child and think they're not going to do something. You actually are trying to use the fact that his father was physically aggressive with you because you touched his child to see it's more wrong that he put his hand on me. No, actually, it's not. You can miss us with that. And apparently there is no bail set. So I think she's still in jail.
She doesn't need to be nowhere.
Yeah. So they didn't, there's no bail. She's still in fucking jail. She can be there, all of that, because she also has 3 court cases that Courtney talked about. One is from February where she was charged with public intoxication with her mother, and another person. They were involved in a fight at a hotel. This is from last February. She also has DUI charges from May 29th and October 10th. And that the May 29th one, someone saw her leave a supermarket clearly intoxicated as she drove away in a vehicle. Officers responding to a 911 call found her with open containers of alcohol and marijuana in the car. She was also charged with driving with a suspended license. Yeah, that bitch ain't getting out of jail. And she don't need to.
She's a mess.
This woman is a mess. It's like, yeah, she
needs clinical help.
Oh yeah.
Obvious. Like she's obviously struggling with, like I had mentioned before, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But she's clearly struggling with addiction issues. Right. And she assaults children. She needs to be in jail. She don't need to go to rehab. She can detox in jail.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Please do.
So
I was like, we don't need that. And there may be some folks that will come out to defend her and include mental illness, and I need y'all to stop that. Please stop equating people being violent and assertive and aggressive in public. Oh, she must have something wrong with her. Or she could be a complete asshole. She could be high. Like, we're not doing this.
Yeah, it's like she's not suffering from mental illness. She's an angry drunk, obviously, and she needs to be in jail. She's driving under the influence is dangerous.
She could have killed somebody with that car. As somebody who was hit in a car accident with a drunk driver, I'm like, yeah, no. My drunk driver, she went directly to jail that night. Mm-hmm. And every time my brother thinks about it, he's like, she could have killed you. And I'm like, yeah, she could have. She T-boned me. I'm glad she hit me on the passenger side and not the driver's side. I probably would be in more, like something physically could have happened to me more. But because she hit me on the passenger side and not the driver's side, that's why I was able to walk away from that accident. Mm-hmm. And it's like something like that could have happened to somebody else with her. And she could put them on the driver's side. Or there could be somebody else in the car.
Right. So she's a drunk, filthy, entitled mess. She feels entitled to just do. You know, it plays into her personality. She feels entitled. She felt entitled to aggressively attack a child. There's a sense of entitlement that goes into drinking, getting super drunk, and then still driving. She feels entitled to do whatever the fuck she wants to do. Fuck everybody else. Fuck putting anyone in danger. But then she's not being, it plays into not being accountable for your actions. Obviously, you're getting drunk and fighting with your mom. Obviously, I can't think of too many situations where my mother would let me get sloppy drunk and then try to fight people in hotels. So I even as an adult, I don't see my mother allowing me to get sloppy drunk and fight people. Correct. So she's from bad stock. Her mother has sat there and watched her act a whole ass and has never corrected her. So she feels like it's okay. Apparently her mom is a drunk as well and be out here trying to throw bows. So, they're just white trash. Too bad.
Correct. So, and also shout out to Courtney because she also posted this from TMZ. So apparently they found the wild video of her and her second DUI. It's on camera. It's from 10/3. Yeah. So homegirl has a problem. She has a problem with the substances. She has a problem keeping her hands off of people. She really has a problem. So yeah. So you're going to watch her. She's saying gang members are killing people right now. Like, ma'am, they're just doing their job. What are you doing? Girl, if you don't shut the hell up. Mind you, this is 2 months before 12/26. Ma'am, you're staying in jail. Please don't get out, because I swear I think his mama would beat your ass, because I know I would. It's like, I'm sorry.
With no
I'm going to sue you. I'm like, oh, it's no question. I'd have put my hands on her. I'm like, there's no question. This is why I've always been like, yeah, I'm not against when I see Black women fighting on television. I'm like, I'm not necessarily against that, because I'm like, I understand some situations do warrant hands because words don't work. My words would fail me if I had watched her attack my child. I would not have the words. I would just have fists. Yeah. And I would have not have stopped until I saw blood. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, love me through it, beloved. For everybody, like, nonviolence is the answer. Yeah, no, put your hands on my kid and you see what happens. Please put your hands on my kid. Please. I'm like, I don't even have children. I have a nephew. Please put your hands on my nephew and watch what the fuck happens to you. It's like, please watch. Like, yeah. So she's staying in jail. Fuck her forever. Yeah. So last thing in mid-key before we start talking about the coup is Trump is slowly but surely getting deplatformed. It started with Twitter, and then all of a sudden it trickled down to, I think the latest is Pornhub, which, okay.
Like, I guess.
It's like, why would he have a platform in Pornhub? I have so many questions about that. But it started with Twitter. They suspended his account, but then they started suspending other accounts. It was a Team Trump account. Is Donald J. Trump. I think he tried to use some of his staff's Twitters to tweet, and then they suspended those too. And he's not even just, it's suspended indefinitely. They're like, yeah, you can't talk anymore because of everything that happened on Wednesday. It's like, yeah, you can't speak anymore. So now it went from Twitter, Facebook, I believe Instagram. Parler is the one where I think they're like, no, you're trying to get rid of us. And now Apple and Google Play took Parler off of their platform, so you can't even get it anymore. Yeah, so they're slowly but surely, let's see, today is the 10th. So 10 days until he leaves office, they are now deplatforming him after he has been able to run rampant on these said places 4 years for his presidency and at least 7 years before that. Thank you for finally taking him off, I guess. After a while, it's like, yeah, so the thing about it is, and I don't think a lot of people probably didn't know this, he talked about this at the end of what happened on the 6th. He talked about it at the end of December. He said, see y'all on January 6th. What is happening on January? Why are you mentioning that? And because no one be like, oh, what the fuck is he? What is he talking about now? Yeah, he's not surprised by what happened. He's surprised by the reaction to what happened. Because he fucking knew. A lot of people on that hill, a lot of people that were in that Capitol with an O. I'm sorry, that's the show title, Capitol with an O. They knew what was going to happen. It did not catch them totally off guard. They knew. He's one of those people. Yeah, he has no problem. See, this is what I keep trying to tell people about Donald Trump. Baby, he would happily see this country burn to the ground as long as she's on a plane going somewhere else. He don't give a shit. Burn all this shit down. I don't know. I'm still a white man. I still got my stuff. People like me. Y'all have to protect me after I leave. I get a pension after this. I'm sorry. I don't care. Burn all that shit down. He does not care. And we're deplatforming him now. But I think the good thing is with him being deplatformed, I know it's probably like hard to see silver linings to this, is that he can't talk that shit after he leave.
Right.
You can't say nothing else. You don't get to speak anymore. We are done. You are done talking. Because it's not, I think they may have suspended the POTUS handle, but all I think Obama was the first person to have a POTUS handle. I don't know how long this POTUS handle has been around. And did Barack Obama got his own?
Well, Barack Obama originally had his own, and then you use POTUS as the president. Right. You're actually not supposed to have your own Twitter
account.
But they let him do whatever the hell. Oh no! What's wrong?
What happened,
Tink? You was asleep. You got scared.
What happened?
Sleep. You were asleep. What's wrong? You okay? Oh, my baby.
What happened?
You still want some milk? Yeah. Okay.
He's like, yeah.
Oh, physical baby.
So that's the thing. He didn't tweet from. So the thing about it is, all of his tweets, he didn't tweet from the POTUS handle. So that is still up.
Right.
So everybody
tried to hop on there real quick.
And I think they it's kind of like, because you look like all the last thing is from December 23rd. So they must have deleted all the tweets, but he really did try. So I think Melania, like FLOTUS, because I don't know if Melania had another one. But yeah, so POTUS and FLOTUS are still there. The White House Twitter is still there because I think like that's different. That's separate. Like that's going to be traveling after that to the next administration. So yeah, they got Donald Trump to fuck on out of here. Yes, get his public stuff off of here. The POTUS and the FLOTUS, that's going to go to Joe Biden. I'm totally fine with that. But watching him be deplatformed, meaning that he can't spill like his vial after he leaves, that's probably the silver lining that I can see to that. Okay, so we are in high key, and high key has just talked about the coup at the Capitol with an O. Before we get into that, I wanted to mention the story of Berlinda Nibo. She is 25. So this is not something that happened in DC. This has happened in California. So there was a rally that's supposed to be, I guess, one of the other events that was happening, simultaneous events, because it wasn't just what happened in DC. Apparently other stuff happened in different cities. But this was a protest in LA. So this is from BuzzFeed News, and I'll read this. A Black woman in Los Angeles who was beaten and pepper sprayed this week by Trump supporters while her arms were held down says she is lucky to be alive. Berlinda Nibo said she was walking past a Stop the Steal protest outside LA City Hall on Wednesday during the attempted coup in Washington, D.C., when a group of Trump supporters started asking who she voted for, saying White Lives Matter and calling her the N-word. Nibo says she then flipped them off and told them to leave her alone and that they should be wearing masks. Soon after, Nibo realized a group of about 30 people kept following her and she quickened her pace, but the Trump supporters blocked her path and swarmed her. A man she recorded on her cell phone falsely accusing her of hitting someone else and scratched her eyes and took her phone. Footage captured by Nibo of the man showing him accusing her of assaulting that guy and grabbing her phone. Other people then started hitting Nibo, pulled off her wig, and pepper sprayed her. I thought I was going to die. If I didn't stand up for myself, this group of people were going to beat me to death. I kept telling myself, don't fall down because you'll get stampeded. Nibo and a photographer who captured the attack said Los Angeles police officers were across the street but never intervened. The attack occurred on the same day a mob of nearly all white Trump supporters breached and ransacked the U.S. Capitol with an O. The response from authorities in Washington, D.C. resulted in criticism of a double standard over how police responded to the pro-Trump insurrection versus Black Lives Matter protesters over the summer. At one point during the attack, Nibo said a man came up behind her, tightly put his arms around her and held her arms at her side and told her, I got you, calm down, these people are going to try to kill you. Nibo didn't fight back because in that moment she did need help and believed him. But while the man was carrying her with the hands at her side, someone pepper sprayed her in the face for at least the third time. It did not help me. It would have helped me more if he had made way for me to move out of there completely. Two bystanders ran up to the man and said they were with Nibo in order to get him to let her go, she said. The heroes, Nibo said, were those two women who then walked her to where LAPD were standing. In a video posted on Twitter after the attack, a woman with a Trump flag hanging over her shoulder proudly held up Nibo's wig. I did that, the woman is heard saying in the video. I did the first scalping of the new Civil War. Raquel Natalaccio, the photographer who captured this incident, said the attack was very distressing to watch because she knows what it feels like to be a woman alone in a precarious situation. I can't even imagine what it's like for a woman of color. She said it was important to capture the attack on camera because she feared people wouldn't believe Nibo after the fact. Too often, women of color are not believed or listened to. The attack on Nibo wasn't the first violent incident at the Los Angeles protest on Wednesday, said Natalaccio, who had been covering the group. By the time Nibo was attacked, Natalaccio had seen the crowd push and strike three others, including journalists and people wearing black shirts who they believed were members of Antifa. They were incredibly violent. They told me I better not be Antifa because if I was, they would find me. They were pretty much harassing anyone who was not a Trump supporter. Natalaccio said she and the two women helped Nibo walk over to the police officers, but when the woman approached, a captain pushed one of them to the ground. Natalaccio said the LAPD officers were across the street, less than 20 feet away from where Nibo was attacked. The police were there the entire time and didn't move an inch. The LAPD didn't respond to questions about the captain or how the officers responded to the incident, but in a statement said the incident that's been described as a hate crime is being investigated and witnesses or anyone with information should contact the department. The LAPD also said the man who put his arms around Nibo and carried her appeared to be a good Samaritan, shielding and helping the woman, which she confirmed with her statements during the investigation. Nibo said she can't say whether the man who grabbed her tried to help because she was blinded by the pepper spray at the point. The LAPD described the way he held her as a bear hug from behind, but Nibo said he held her so tight, her chest was red from the pressure. It was hard enough for a person of my color to have red marks on my body. That's how tight he was really holding me. It was not fun. It was no bear hug. It was traumatizing. After a bystander washed her eyes with a saline solution, Nibo said officers asked if she wanted to do a citizen's arrest and to identify the people who attacked her. Nibo left shortly after with a friend when officers were distracted by a separate brawl nearby. Nibo went home covered in pepper spray, some of it dripping into her ear, but she's holding out hope that police arrest the people who attacked her. My family and I are seeking privacy at this moment so I can get some healing and also safety, because now I'm even more worried with everything that happened at the U.S. Capitol. So I wanted to bring this up because I saw a few of the videos. So the first video that I saw was of the guy in the bear hug, and I saw the person walk up and pepper spray her in the face. Now, then I saw other videos, and one was of the woman who was very excited about pulling off this woman's wig, saying, "Oh my God, I did it. I did it." So the man, they have identified the guy that was the one holding her in a bear hug. He has a random ass name. Now there was a few places that said that he was trying to help her. And then people were like, no, he actually wasn't trying to help her. So I think he was probably fine with her being assaulted, but maybe being killed is probably the line that he was at, but who knows? Because if she's saying I'm looking at her skin tone, her and I might be the same skin tone. So if she's saying she has red on her chest, I believe it. It's like,
that's a lot. That's a lot. It sounds like the force that happens when you are in a car accident and you know the seat, the seatbelt hits up against your chest or your stomach and it leaves bruising. And I saw, the photos of the gentleman the man, the person, whomever that was, that quote unquote rescue. They're framing it as a rescue, but I just feel like it's a really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, moment of clarity, I guess. But the guy, you could tell he's squeezing. He could have lifted her up, and cradled her if he truly wanted to protect her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just wasn't as, I don't know, it just wasn't a heroic act in my opinion. It's like, it feels like also he didn't want them to kill her so they wouldn't get in trouble for killing her versus he didn't want her to die.
Correct. It's like, I feel like it's two different things. It's like, his
motivation was not her protection. It was protecting the mob from their own craziness.
Yeah. So to hear that, one, it's the LAPD. So I'm not entirely surprised that they literally did nothing. It's the fucking LAPD. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not fucking sorry about that. The LAPD is one of the most racist police departments in the country. So, I'm not surprised that they didn't do anything. And the fact that wasn't the only thing that happened at this protest. Protests are peaceful. No, these thugs were just walking around with flags beating up on people. It's like,
right.
Y'all did not stop them. You're like, well, they're protesting. Yeah, hitting somebody in pepper. Why do they have pepper spray? Why do you have pepper spray? Why are y'all not wearing fucking masks? Why did one of y'all asses could give her COVID? I'm upset. I have so many different feelings about this. I'm so fuck y'all. I'm and I hope they find this dude. I hope they find and arrest all of them, but y'all not really going out of your way to do that. Hell, y'all didn't even y'all literally pushed an old white man so hard to the ground, blood came out of his ears and you could see it. And y'all still flat out lied and said, oh, he must have tripped or something. No, we watched.
No, you pushed him and you pushed an elder.
Right.
And they lost their balance. And didn't he die? Did he die?
I don't know. He didn't die, but he was in the hospital for a little while. I think he is still alive. I thought he left the hospital. But I think something is he's not okay, if that even makes sense. I can't remember what happened, but it's I think there's going to be some long-term effects. I'm because when I saw the video, I was like, is he bleeding out of his ears? It's okay, so there's a problem.
And then you saw the one cop was going to lean down.
Yeah, no. He was like, no.
And then the other cop just said no. And
right. It was
you're leaving people to die.
Right. And then y'all lied on your police report. I'm see, this is why This is why the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama, was pushing for body cams. And he said it in a way to make it seem like he wasn't saying, I'm going to make sure y'all asses stay honest with this. He said it in a way. This is why he said you body cams. But also, this is coming from cell phone video. Because the bad part about if he had just said, they pushed me so hard, I fell, you wouldn't believe him because you believe the cop. It's like, but if they have physical evidence of what they saw, you'd be like, oh, no. It's like, oh, no, we're cops. They always do the right thing. I'm like, do they now? Do they now? Is that
absolutely not?
Is that the fable and fallacy we're telling? It's like, is that what we're doing? Oh, okay. Oh, we're lying now. Oh, we're lying. Okay, we're getting the line. So the last thing in high key is the coup at the Capitol with an O. I must keep saying with an O because it's just funny when I think about it. So there were whispers, and I have to say, so I will say this. So there were whispers about this, and where it was being whispered at was TikTok. Because people were making TikToks saying, this is what's going to happen on January 6th. This is what we're going to do. Hence, well, if you look at some of the photos from Wednesday, you see people who had on fucking merch for this. They had on damn t-shirts. They don't make that morning.
Stop the steal. Stop.
Yes. With that date, I said, they have merch for this shit. This has been like they have been planning this, and and so you're just like, whew, I don't even know what to say. It's so much. So I wanted to read because it has a Wikipedia page, y'all. It's called The Storming of the United States Capitol with an O. It has a Wikipedia page. People are undefeated in this because they literally gave a whole Wikipedia page with links, with articles for this. So this is what is coming that if people look up storming of the United States Capitol with an O, this is what it says for Wikipedia. The 2021 storming of the United States Capitol was a failed armed insurrection by Trump supporters against the United States government on Wednesday, January 6, 2021. Incited by Donald Trump to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election, thousands of his supporters stormed the United States Capitol in an effort to disrupt the Electoral College vote count during a joint session of Congress to formalize President-elect Joe Biden's election victory. After breaching multiple police perimeters, they occupied, vandalized, and ransacked parts of the building for several hours. The insurrection led to the evacuation and lockdown of the Capitol building and 5 deaths. So that is why, Donald Trump was talking about it in December, because he knew when the vote was going to happen.
Exactly.
He knew. It's like he knew January 6th is when they're going to have the vote for the Electoral College votes, which, by the way, for Donald Trump, they didn't do it in January. They did it back in December after November. It was like his peaceful transition of power from Barack Obama above board, and you're literally watching somebody who literally could not be presidential even if his life depended on it.
For a moment.
He has done nothing. It's like you haven't done the transition of power. You are saying you're not coming to the inauguration. You have not conceded the election. It's like, I'm sorry, what else does he need to do to prove to y'all that he don't give a fuck about that office? He just likes the thought of being president. He does not respect the office of being president.
And I mean, can we really drive home that point that this is about his ego? He honestly did not want to win. He just wanted to prove to Barack Obama that he could win. Correct. He does not want to be president. He doesn't want to govern. He doesn't want to be responsible. He doesn't want to create legislation. He does not want to foster American leadership throughout the world. He does not want to govern. He does not want to be a leader. He likes having the title and he likes having attention. That is all this is about. If he wanted to be president, he has had an opportunity to still be very much president. Case in point, the coronavirus. If he would have just did even maybe a fourth of what could have been done to slow the spread of coronavirus, he would have been hailed an American hero that stopped the deadly China virus from killing Americans. And his reelection would have been in the bag because it would have been true. He would have been able to say, I saved America, I saved our economy, I am a true leader. And people would have, not really wanted to argue against that.
Right.
He dropped the ball. You guys know this. He doesn't give a fuck about us as a nation. And that includes white people, which is why I am so confused, because this is white people make up the majority of the racial demographic in this country. He's hurting us as a nation. The majority of you are white. Why are you all so down for him?
Correct.
What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with, he does not care about us. He does not, and I'm not saying that you have to be a Democrat, right? If you're a conservative, if you're a Republican, if you don't feel like you align ideologically or politically with Democrats, that's fine. Donald Trump does not have to be the hill that you die on. He does not have to be this guy. Whatever good things you feel like he does on the financial end, on the trade end, you can find someone else who does that. That's not him. Why him? Why him? Why now? What is he doing that is so special that you can't find this in anyone else who's not a complete narcissistic lunatic? What are we? He's a madman. He's a madman. You don't need to have conservative. You don't need to have a conservative, a fiscally lenient regulatory president so bad that you have to allow a madman to stay in office. Come on, guys. Come on.
Absolutely.
For once. Just for once.
It's like y'all could be literally 70. Even though he lost election, he still had 75 million people who voted for him. 75 million. That's still 75 million people who literally chose violence instead of the right thing. I'm like, I choose violence. I don't care. And it's like, are y'all okay? And it's like, that's the thing that always gets me about this election. I'm like, Joe Biden didn't win in a landslide, y'all. It literally was too close to call in a lot of states while we are in a panorama. Y'all are still sitting y'all asses home and you still voting for him. I'm like, it's like you've learned nothing. You've learned nothing in the last 4 years. You would still choose violence over everything else. Y'all are really the deplorables that Hillary called y'all asses and she had to walk it back because y'all little white feelings were hurt. And then you see this.
But then continue to do deplorable
shit. I'm like, this is deplorable. This is why the fuck she called y'all deplorables. This is why. Because y'all would do this shit. Y'all actually brought y'all book bags up. Y'all were climbing the wall. Barricades. They're like, they didn't breach shit. Y'all let their asses right on in. You let them come past the, there's several different videos of people like the cops literally letting them in the barricades. They ain't breached shit. It's like, y'all let them walk right on in here. There have been protests throughout this country for Black Lives Matter. There was any breath of even saying, not even protest, just the P in protest. You saw cops lining up. They had the National Guard at that same place when Black Lives Matter was having a protest. Where the fuck was the National Guard? Y'all weren't going to pull them out. Why? Because they white. Like, for what? I'm like, no, y'all get to do whatever the fuck y'all want in this country.
They stood up Marion Bowser. They stood her up. She requested for them to be present because the chatter was there, right? People were not hiding, which also, just to add a small point, the insurrectionists now lying, saying that it was Black Lives Matter and Antifa when they were talking about it.
They were disguised. They're like, Antifa disguised themselves at us. I'm like, wait, why would they do that?
They didn't. And none of you had on masks, and a bunch of you were live tweeting, live streaming the whole situation. So no, it wasn't Antifa in disguise. Correct. It was well-known Trump supporters, but okay. So they're running around freely with no mask. And people have been, Donald Trump announcing again on Twitter, January 6th, be there. It's going to be wild. People, they had been discussing this. Marion Bowser, Black woman, mayor of DC, was like, fuck that. She requested to have the National Guard there weeks ago, days even beforehand. It was approved by the Pentagon, and then they stood her up. So what are we doing?
Like literally, what are y'all doing? It's like, wait a minute. What are y'all doing? It's like, are y'all okay? It's like, you're watching in horror and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, they must be so organized. No, they're not organized. They're white. No, that's not organization that y'all seeing. This is them being white. And now there are more white people say, see, if they were Black people, I'm like, yeah, so I hear y'all. I appreciate it. But a part of my Black ass soul is like, you can shut the fuck up too. Because y'all had no problem labeling people peacefully protesting, literally walking down the street as the same as calling them thugs and they're going to mess up this country. Y'all had no problem having thoughts and fifis about that. But now you're like, if they were Black, this would have never happened. No, because y'all would have shot their asses. You'd have had the National Guard there. Off rip. They wouldn't have been able to get anywhere near. It's like a woman was shot by that same Capitol Police trying to take a photo. Y'all so full of shit. It's like, everybody knows that about DC. I live in Baltimore. I've been to DC. There's a lot of buildings you can't get nowhere near. The state capitol is one of them. It's like, everybody knows that. It's like, no, they got police. You can't just walk up there. They have barricades for a reason. They always have them. I'm like, y'all, you don't know how secure that building really is truly supposed to be.
And then, of course, I know I don't live in DC, but I was telling my dad, I'm like, it seems like there would have been at times where Congress is in session. We have situations where you have a lot of lawmakers. It seems like there would naturally be an increase in security anyway, right? Like, why wouldn't there be an increase in security? Even under normal circumstances, we have a normal president who doesn't have an issue with the election. And just there's a gathering of the lawmakers in the Capitol. It seems like on a well-known date, which, is the counting of the electoral votes. So it seems like there would have been, under normal circumstances, an increase of security regardless. But then that doesn't seem to be what happened either. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it feels very inside jobbish to me at this point. Yeah. Because granted, there's less people present because of COVID, but even then, the security should have had an uptick anyway, regardless of what we're experiencing, because there were going to be several lawmakers all in one building, and that then becomes a target anyway under good circumstances. So I don't understand why there just wasn't an increase in security anyway.
Correct. Especially with everything that they were going to be talking about. They were doing that to do the electoral college vote.
Right.
And it's just like, so you would think, to your point, that there would be more people there, that like you would have had everybody on deck, especially because y'all, like, did y'all see the tweets that we saw? Because people have literally been talking about they're going to burn this city they're going to burn this country to the ground because their boy didn't get reelected. That it's always been out there. They haven't been that quiet. They are stupid and they are loud and wrong, but emphasis on the loud part. They've been very loud. They haven't been whispering shit. It's like they've been speaking it very loudly, but because they are white, y'all ignored them. And can I also give in this caveat, because me and my mother talked about this. She made the joke. She's like, oh, I guess we going to DC. We going. I'm like, girl, no, we ain't going nowhere. I was like, I turned off because it was happening at 3. I think I was on a work call. And then someone said, do you see what's on the news right now? And then I looked, it's like, what the fuck are they doing? I was like, let me turn this television. I turned off the television and went to bed. I was like, I gotta go. Y'all have lost your goddamn minds. It was like, what is wrong with you? And we were talking about the fact that people are thinking this kind of thing. It was like 100,000 people. And a lot of people are acting like race, like white supremacists and racists are poor, yokels. They're stupid. They don't have nothing going on. They just work at they deliver pizza for Domino's. Yeah. Racists are doctors. They are lawyers. No. They are judges. They are politicians. They are in everything. And then you see all these people coming out. Oh, this person resigned because they were there. You see these, they are CEOs and COOs. I'm like, they are
There
everywhere.
Was a West Virginia state legislature that was live streaming himself bum rushing into the Capitol. Mm-hmm. There was I'm out here, to remind listeners, I'm in California. One out here in Northern California, there's a city by the name of Menlo Park, which is one of the wealthier areas in the Bay Area. There was a woman pictured, a business owner who was pictured there. It wasn't a photo of her storming the Capitol, but she was there in support of the insurrection. So, yeah, these people have money. They have access. They are well-to-do. They are well funded just because they have so much capital access. So they're not poor and they're not all dumb. So there's that.
Yeah. It's no, there's a lot of people who are losing jobs or quitting because they were there, because they're not just, the yokels missing teeth and living in West Virginia talking about the Mexicans took my jobs. It's more than that. It's it's everybody.
And also, if you think about it, some of those people who, they've only been naming, folks who have been arrested, but some of them were coming from the South. But you think about it, we're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of people are out of work. So the people who could afford to do this, there's 2 points. There are people who could afford to do this because they're still very much employed, or still their businesses are still open, or they have savings or money that they could pull from to be able to travel to Washington, D.C., even though flights are very cheap at this point because of all what we're going through. But also, Alex Jones had admitted to contributing to the organization of this quote unquote rally, which is an insurrection. The rally was the pregame for the insurrection.
Right.
So, and I was explaining to my parents how on both sides, right, that both Democrat and Republican, they will organize for rallies, for gatherings, and they will fundraise to help people get to wherever the location is. If you can't afford to fly out, they'll fundraise for you to have a ticket. They'll arrange for you to have accommodations to stay somewhere with people within the network. Because my whole thing was, I know those people did not just come there for that day and then just go straight home. They didn't go, not everyone went straight home, right? Because not everyone's in the DMV area, or even New York, or even just within the Carolinas, which can be a longer-ish drive. But not everyone, like I said, there was someone from all the way out here in California. She didn't go. Did she really do all that? Did all that just happen? And then she just turned around and just came on back out here to the Bay Area, just caught a return flight that day. That I feel like there's people that are still there. There are people who are within the DMV area, within this network, and they're housing people. I think people are able to afford to stay in hotels and Airbnbs and those type of things because stuff is so cheap right now, because nobody's traveling and no one should be because of COVID. Correct. So I feel like a good chunk of those people are still there and still fuming, right? And now we're how many days out? It's the 10th. We're 10 days out from Inauguration Day. They're still there. A lot of people stayed and they're waiting for the 20th.
Correct. Because so you've also seen, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen a couple videos where people that were at the protests have been quickly put on no-fly lists. So some of them have been arrested at airports. And then someone like, oh my God, I didn't do anything that bad. I was there, but I didn't hurt or kill nobody, baby. If you participated in this at all, you are going to jail. And just to let y'all know,
overthrow the government.
It's like, and your boy that y'all are fighting for, he signed an executive order and they're going to punish you full extent of the law. You could be facing 10 years for just attending. Your boy signed that executive order for that. You can thank him, baby. You're going to jail. He did that to get at Black people and anybody who wanted to protest against police brutality, but it backfired because now all y'all asses could get that. All of y'all. It's like, oh yeah, so your boy, he may be the reason y'all went there and risked your life and or lost your life for Trump, which is why we literally say, baby, he ain't the hill to die on. Literally.
He's not.
He is
he
not.
Will not.
He will never be.
He will not.
Ever.
He will not.
So apparently the U.S. Capitol Police Chief resigned and they have named Yogananda Pittman as the acting chief. Yes, that is a Black woman. So now they're making her the acting chief. I'm like, how great. How great for this woman to get this here. I'm being very sarcastic. I want nothing but nice things for Yogananda Pittman.
I really hate that they put her in this place to clean up. It was
like,
shit.
Really? It's like it's like you could have picked some other white dude. Why are you doing this? It's like, why are you putting her here? So yeah, fun. So a lot of people are getting arrested. Apparently there have been videos of people who, because they just went back to their airports. There weren't a whole bunch of arrests. Yeah, they didn't do that. There are people screaming.
There were at the most it was like
15
that day.
I think they said 15. Yeah, it was like out of 100,000 people
that day. I mean, well, then also because they were so understaffed, the police could not, they just did not have the ability to arrest people in mass the way they needed to, too.
Correct.
So there's that.
So I'll tell you about the casualties, folks, because there's a casualty I want to talk about because y'all are being very fucking weird about this. So 5 people died. I think another police officer just died today. They bashed his head in with a fire extinguisher. So it's been so at the time when they put this on Wikipedia, they hadn't considered the officer that died because of his injuries with a fire extinguisher. And there is a video out of them actually bashing this man's head in. There's a video out there on the internet.
God,
so 15 police officers were hospitalized. More than 50 were injured. So the casualty that I want to talk about is a woman by the name of Ashley Babbitt. So these asshats, she got shot because I think she had a book bag on. And of course, here's the other thing. Apparently there were pipe bombs all over the damn Capitol with an O, that they're not talking about the fact that people are like, oh, no, that's a rumor. They're like, no. They really did have pipe bombs. They really did place them. They really were going to set them off. Pipe bombs in the state capitol. So homegirl got shot. And then people decided to use the hashtag say her name for Ashley Babbitt. I know y'all are fucking lying and you got Black women full circle fucked up if you think we're not going to call y'all on y'all fuck shit. How dare you use that hashtag for somebody who flew across the country? She lives in California, flew to California from DC and got herself killed by committing treason. And now you want to use this hashtag that is used for Black women who are killed, cis and trans Black women. I would just like to point that out because we do this when trans women are killed, and it's usually via domestic violence. We use that for them. How dare you use it for this person? And the bad part about it is when we use that hashtag, y'all tell us to shut the fuck up. It's like, what is wrong with y'all? It's like, what in the hell is wrong with you? This is all sorts of fuck shit. Y'all are deplatforming Donald Trump because you're like, he has said enough because he can't be presidential even if he tried because he really didn't come out. This should have been more of a big press conference where he is talking down what happened. He kind of really didn't. It's like they used thug here, intruder here, vandal here.
He did that really weird second video. He did
Yeah.
that first video where it was like, "Hey guys, go on home."
Like, hey guys, fun's over. Wait, what?
Like, can we just back up for a second?
Mhm.
And so with him and then tying in with Ashley Babbitt. So, they had the rally at first, and he's like, "We're going to march down to the Capitol, blah, blah, blah."
Yep.
And then so they march down to the Capitol. He hops his heavy set ass into a limo and goes back home to the White House, because when he made the initial video telling them, "Hey guys, calm it down, you got to go on home," he's at the White House. He wasn't even there. He never even went with y'all to the Capitol. He told y'all to go down there, and then he went, and him and Ivanka and Don Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle were all watching all the shit on the news like the rest of us. He wasn't even there.
By accident.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, that's the thing. Remember when he was campaigning? I think this was the first campaign, not for the 2020 campaign, where people were being violent at his rallies. He was like saying, "Oh, I'll bail them out." I know for a fact he ain't bailing nobody out.
First of all, he's a broke bitch, so he can't do anything.
Right. He's like, I'll bail him out. And I was like, oh, okay. Who have you bailed out, Donald Trump? Because I don't think you bailed out anybody.
He doesn't even have the funds to do that. He's cash poor anyway. Mm-hmm. So his bank account probably looks like mine, just the stimulus balance in it. So he can just go all the way to hell. He can go straight to hell.
He can go to eternal hell. That's where he can.
And it's crazy to me. And, I had tweeted out that, it's all this say her name. Ashley Babbitt was a unarmed protester.
Girl, bitch, fuck you.
I thought, first of all, she was banging on a window, trying to break it to get in. She was screaming Kamala's name. So she was going to attack our vice president-elect. And my whole question was, well, I thought when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So I don't know. Does that not apply anymore? Because she was definitely in the process of looting. As we know, they did loot. The people were stealing podiums. They left feces and urine.
They stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop, and there's a photo of the man holding it.
Yeah, waving. Hey guys, like it's a
because it was like wait, because he's like
it was the prize in a scavenger hunt.
Right.
Like,
and
look
then
what
it's
I
like
found.
He hid it behind in another photo, he hid it behind the flag and his arm, and it was like, you still got Pelosi's computer. It's like that man put his feet up on her desk. I'm like, yeah, all of you are going to fucking jail. Okay, so all of y'all want to go to jail. This is where we are, because all of you are going to jail at this point.
Just it's insane, but it's like she was breaking the law. She was probably going to. Obviously, these people are killers, right? They killed. They had no issues beating police to death. You think that if they weren't able to if they would have ran into Kamala Harris, if they would have ran into Nancy Pelosi, they would have ran into Chuck Schumer, if they wouldn't have had folks on the inside, some of their House and Senate colleagues who were trained in combat, who knew how to properly navigate this type of terrorist attack, they would have probably been, at least physically assaulted. It doesn't, I truly believe if any of those people would have honestly ran into any of the Democratic lawmakers, they would have tried to kill them. Right. I mean, there's still shots, there's videos of them beating police to death. This is supposed to be the Blue Lives Matter squad, and they're beating police to death. Correct. They would have killed them.
Right. But just like Blue Lives Matter, I'm like, yeah, y'all miss me. Y'all full of shit. It was like, yeah, like y'all don't care about anybody. I'm like, that's the thing about the whole Blue Lives Matter thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, we just got to care about our police, except if they don't do something you like. Then
except if they don't get out of your way for an insurrection.
Right. It's like, how dare you, like, excuse me, we're trying to get these niggers on out of here. What the fuck are you doing? My job. It's my job. I have to do this. Like, what are you doing? Like, get out. I'm like, y'all don't give a shit about those police. Like, you don't give a whole shit. Because I'm sorry, where is Blue Lives Matter? Y'all on vacation? I know it's a Panasonic, but where y'all at? Y'all on vacation? Y'all supposed to be coming here and caring about these police officers, ain't you? It's like, where y'all at? I'm like, oh, y'all tired?
I literally don't see anything about Blue Lives Matter. I don't see anything about them denouncing.
Nothing about the fallen. I'm like, oh my God, we lost this.
No.
Nothing.
There's no denouncing. How dare you kill our officers?
Nope.
Blah, blah, blah. Nothing. They are silent.
It's like, y'all are full of shit. I'm like, yeah. So when we told y'all were full of shit, y'all looked at us like we were crazy. It's like, oh. Like, no, we care. I'm like, do you now? Do you care? Is that what we're doing? Are those the lies we telling? Oh, okay, Beulah. It's like, child, I don't, and for everyone's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And I'm like, yeah, so here's the thing. They told y'all what they were going to do. This is why I'm like, they've been talking about this for weeks and y'all didn't do anything because they're white. They don't necessarily hurt your whiteness by coming to the Capitol and burning shit down. That don't really hurt you because you only think Black people who are literally marching to say stop fucking killing us during a traffic stop is the same. It's like when they had the No Dapple protest, y'all were literally spraying protesters with water in 32-degree weather. It's like, are y'all okay? It's like, so y'all have the means to do what you need to do with protesters, but when they're white, you don't activate them because in your mind, these kind of matters are just for those Black people because they're animals. It's just for those indigenous people because they're animals. We got to treat them like animals. You should have treated these people like animals because there's no way in hell. And they think that they did something correct. They're like, oh, we won. Oh, we did the right thing. Oh, we did what you need to do. Like, see, this is what we're going to turn over this government. The only reason why y'all got through the barricades with a red carpet, the reason why you did not get shot in the head, the reason why the National Guard wasn't there is because you're fucking white. They don't care. They're like, oh, okay, well, white people aren't dangerous. I'm like, so we checked history and that's a goddamn lie. It's like this country was built on spilling the blood of minorities. You've been spilling minority blood since the inception of this country. So y'all can miss me with this whole, if this was Black people, it would have been different. Hi, let me tap you on your lace front. Bitch, we already know that. We know it would be different. We want y'all to like, yeah. So we're not telling you to go out and shoot them. We're saying stop fucking shooting us because we just want to live. We want to be able to we don't want to have anxiety attacks when we get stopped by the police. We don't want to have like anxiety about going into stores and being labeled as a thief if we're even just stepping foot in the door. If we are Latinx Hispanic people, we don't want always people to think that we're the fucking help and we are here to clean and wipe the floors. It's like, we're done with y'all. I'm like, we don't, like, your words are cute. It's cute. But we don't need your words. We need y'all action. So if y'all can steamroll getting him out, impeach him. Because I don't understand how nothing he did on Wednesday, y'all should have been there the next goddamn day on Thursday, January 7th said, so we're going to come back and we're going to talk about impeachment. Because if that is not impeachable, what the fuck just happened? I don't know what else he needs to do.
It's just one article. It's just one article. It's there's the article of impeachment for insurrection, and it's literally one article. It's just one sentence, and that's what he did. And he's trying to really just act like that's not what he did. Like, oh, he's not responsible. He told them to march down there.
He really did. He said, I'll see you on January 6th. He said it. It's like, what do you like? I'm sorry, what else does he need to do? Do you need to see him with a Molotov cocktail and throw it into a building and watch it burn before y'all say, this is a problem? He's been a problem since January 20th, 2016. I'm sorry, 2017. He's been a problem since then. He's been a problem for years before that, but he became our official problem when he was inaugurated.
All right.
It's like, yeah, y'all can. I'm like, I don't need y'all words. I'm like, I guess it'll make you feel better to say that and like say the things that literally Black people have been saying for centuries. But sure, it'll help you feel better. You actually admitting that, and I'm not directing this at Joe Biden. Joe Biden is definitely different. He's the only one. I'm like, yeah, he's a president-elect. He has to say that stuff. Everybody else, I'm like, y'all can miss me with this. Like, yeah, I don't care what you say. I don't care. It's like, yeah, sure, that makes you feel better. But like, hi, don't say this to Black people. Say this to white people. Yeah, because don't say it to us. We're like, yeah, we could have told you that. We already knew. Y'all had the
we saw it.
You had the National Guard for us. Y'all were driving through with y'all police cars and crowds for us. For them, y'all opened up the barricades.
Which is still the wildest scene to me.
It was like, wait a minute. I'm like, y'all let them in?
That's why I'm like, this is some inside job shit.
You know, and
why would you?
That they're like, oh wait, we gotta do something, because I have a feeling that those folks that were involved, they may be the ones like joining in the whole. Yeah, we need to impeach him because they know if they don't, y'all are next.
Right.
It's like, sure. It's like, child. I just, there's a lot. It's so much. This is why it's a whole Wikipedia page on this, because there's so many other little things going on. It's like, y'all literally went to the state capitol with an O because y'all boy didn't win. And y'all stole this election. And that, if that's
no proof. With absolutely no proof.
What proof? And I'm like, this is when you know you've been an entitled white person your whole damn life, when you actually think that rules don't apply to you. It's like,
wait, let me see if I can find it in my screenshots. There was I've been moonlighting on Parler, just watching all the.
While you're doing that, can I just say that I'm very disappointed that one of the guys in the Backstreet Boys, because I'm a Backstreet Boys fan, apparently Brian Luttrell is on Parler.
Oh, I said,
God damn it! I'm like, you motherfucker! I'm like, what? It's like, why is he on Parler? It's like, Brian. I mean,
he's a white boy from the South.
So he is. So I'm like, I'm not surprised, but I was like, so I had a discussion with like a friend on Facebook talking about disappointment versus surprise. So it was about Captain Lee, and he had liked this is so Bravo right now, but Captain Lee from Below Deck had liked a Instagram video from Siggy, who used to be on Real Housewives of New Jersey. Siggy turned soggy really quickly, and she's a very big Trumper. And it's just God. Like, it's so disappointing. I'm like, her last season on Jersey, I can't even rewatch. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see her because fuck her. So it was like all this, like, I can't believe all of this is going on. It's just liking a photo. And then you see the Brian Luttrell stuff and you just go, what? Can y'all stop being terrible? Like, what are you doing? So it's like somebody responded to him and said, we're all about to show you the meaning of being lonely. I'm like, see, we about to go down Backstreet Boys. We about to go through a Backstreet Boys tunnel of puns to shit on him. But I'm sitting here like, why are you Brian Luttrell? Like, what the hell? I'm just sitting here like, what are you doing? So now then here comes the discussion about free speech. Yeah, because I think the person who owns Parler said he's going to lose money because Apple took it off their store, and so did Amazon. I think Google Play is gone. Yeah, they're like, yeah, you can't.
Yeah, it's gone off of it's gone off of everything.
Yeah, so he's sitting there like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose money, and what about freedom of speech? I'm like, I need y'all to Google. I swear to you, I swear it will just save your life for you to have these free speech discussions. Because free speech does not mean you get to say what the fuck you want on a site where you have to sign terms and conditions and actually accept them before you can approve and actually participate on that social media site. Free speech does not save you from that. It saves you from prosecution legally. That is it. So if you say what the fuck you want on your Twitter, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but realize you have to handle whatever consequences come after that. So if it means you lose your job, you lose your business, you lose friends, you lose fans, all of that, you have to handle the consequences. Nothing that I just said includes anything legal. There's nothing legal about you losing fans in your business and your job.
Like
that means you ain't going to jail.
Right. That's just the consequences of your actions. People are free to not like what you say. Correct. And then remove you from their, like I said, restaurant, their home. They can stop being friends with you. They can stop letting you post on their platform. And you can, you have your ability to start your own platform, though. So then there's that. All the Parler and the Gab and the MeWe and all of those. You don't like that you can't just say unchecked, racist, crazy, conspiracy bullshit, then yes, you can go and start your own social media platform, messaging platform where you can spread a bunch of unchecked bullshit and have at it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. It's like, it's so much that's going on into this, and people are like, oh my God, how did this happen? They're white. It's like, that's it. It's not organization. Yeah. It's not, they are smarter. It's not, no, they're white. Y'all are not going to do this to other white people. You don't treat. So I've noticed this when it comes to white people. White people treat other white people terrible when they're poor. That's when you treat them terribly. You don't treat them terribly because they're white. You treat them terribly because they're poor. It's like, that's it. But in this kind of space for the protest, you don't know people's financial status. It's like, y'all didn't do anything. And now it's going to be the reckoning. And then you're in other countries, especially countries that we have marched down their fucking streets and blown shit up in their country. They looking at us like, wait a minute. So how would you, because here's the thing, like people they don't want to call them domestic terrorists. They keep changing. Hey, boo-boo. Call them domestic terrorists and everything. But the thing about it is so interesting is that they're like, oh no, we got to forgive them. I'm like, so let me ask a question. Y'all forgive the people who bombed 9/11? It wouldn't even occur to you to ask for that kind of forgiveness. You wouldn't offer it either, but you have no problem saying, oh, we should forgive them and let's act like this is not a big deal. I'm like,
I'm not. Yeah. I will not.
Oh, I will not. I'm like, oh, this is definitely a big deal and y'all need to fucking fix this. If you think that we as Black people are going to sit here and try to pacify you and woo, woo, woo and give you woo-saw. No, fuck that. In the words of Imani Van Zap, I need you to fix your shit. This is not our fight. This is not our battle. You created that monster. Donald Trump is the GOP's Frankenstein monster. That is your monster, Frankenstein. You need to fix this. He's leaving in 10 days, so it's like the American people had to go in and fix it. However, y'all should impeach his ass, move it straight on through, because then he will not get Secret Service after he leaves. He will not get any money. Yeah, cut him off at the pass.
And then he honestly needs to be barred from running from federal office. Yep.
And that's the other thing.
I feel like they need to go. I really feel like there needs to be something where he needs to be barred from office, period, because absolutely. I don't even want his ass sitting on anyone's city council, town council.
I don't want you on the PTA council.
I don't want him on the board of directors for a damn library. I don't want it. He needs to be treated as a pariah.
Right.
The pariah that he is.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, yeah, do all of that. Hell, I'm like, there's still people who, for some odd reason, speaks fondly of Richard Nixon. I'm like, how are you doing this? But people find the words for some god awful reason. So, yeah, so this has been a shit show of a week. This upcoming week, yeah, it's you're gonna watch people be very revisionist on this in about 5 years, and it's like, we're not gonna do this. I have been unplugging. A lot of us have just been unplugging. I'm like, yeah, let me just turn this off. Let me watch Batman Beyond. Let me watch something else. Let me turn on the HBO Max and watch something else. Let me get on my Netflix. Let me do something else. Because to watch Black organizers just watch this and go, do you know, excuse me, there are people from Ferguson that they said killed themselves and nobody believes that. Those people went to jail immediately. They spent years in jail. They have been like fired from jobs from Ferguson. And so they're watching this going like, they actually got to fly the fuck back home. And now they're not on the no-fly list and they feel like that's so unfair. Fair. You want to talk about fair? Y'all beat a police officer's head in with a fire extinguisher. Y'all were pushing so much, y'all crushed a police officer between a door. You know, the police officers that y'all say Blue Lives Matter, did any of their lives matter? They didn't. Their lives didn't care to you. You injured all these blue lives that y'all say matter so much because you have no problem telling Black and brown people y'all need to shut up and just do whatever the fuck they tell you to do. But when you're so used to being the enforcers of laws as opposed to the followers of law, you think that shit don't apply to you. And this is what we're literally watching. And all the Black activists, any kind of social activists, they're looking at this really funny, like, oh, so now y'all can just stand down and stand by like he told y'all to do. Because y'all are sheep and y'all are stupid, not because y'all are in some sort of lower economic status, because some of y'all are like teachers and lawyers and nurses and doctors and in politics. So y'all not quote unquote that stupid. Yeah, so fuck y'all. So it's like, it's pretty much a big fuck you. Yeah, and I'm not telling any Black person to go down that hill. I'm like, girl, no, y'all could. We as the Blacks, we're going to stand by and stand down on this. Y'all can fix this. We're not helping you. Y'all put that Black woman up as acting chief, and I'm like, yeah, that don't fix nothing. She ain't bippity boppity booing shit. Y'all need to fix this. We're kind of like, we're done. We're all full up. We got enough. It's bad enough. It's like, hello, we still don't have justice for Breonna Taylor. We don't. Fuck your firings. Why the fuck are they not in jail? So I'm like, yeah, no, I still don't have justice for Breonna Taylor. There's a lot of Black people. Yeah, what happened to Ahmaud Arbery's case? Y'all have not really said anything about that. What's going on with George Floyd? What's going on there? We don't have nothing. So yeah, we got other shit to worry about as opposed to why y'all cousins and uncles and aunties and sisters decided to get their happy asses on Spirit Airlines and fly to DC. Like, yeah, we're kind of done at this point. We're not going to do it. So I think that's all that I have for this. And my baby mama is going to go take care of my baby.
I am. Thank you for having me on. And we have to check in offline in real life. Zoom party. Thank you. Shout out to all the listeners. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Courtney. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Thanks, boo. Love you much.
Love you, baby. Have a good night. So you guys, this has been the Mocha Minutes podcast. I will be back next week with some more discussion, hopefully not as heavy. I'm going to ask everybody, please take care of yourselves mentally. Unplug. Divest from making yourself look at this because, baby, you don't need to. I implore you, please don't do this to yourself. It's okay to turn it off. I feel like I'm talking like Imani Van Zap. I enjoy Imani Van Zap way too much. Because they're awesome. So take care of yourself, take care of your spirits, take care of your mentals. Love you, babies. See you next week. Bye.
Republicans who supported this president, especially the ones in the joint session of Congress today. Have you had enough? After 5 years of coddling this president's fascist rhetoric, guess whose followers want to burn down the Reichstag? Because today, the U.S. Capitol was overrun for the first time since 1814, and a woman died. Who could have seen this coming? Everyone, even dummies like me. This is the most shocking, most tragic, least surprising thing I've ever seen. For years now, people have been telling you cowards that if you let the president lie about our democracy over and over and then join him in that lie and say he's right when you know for a fact that he is not, there will be a terrible price to pay. But you just never thought you'd have to pay it too. I really do hope you're enjoying those tax cuts. And those judges, because those judges are really going to be working hard. They're going to be busy throwing these idiots in jail. And by idiots, I include the Republicans who let this happen. Like you, Senator Josh Hawley, raising your stupid fist to the mob outside the Capitol. Look at that. It's like Black Power, but the opposite. There really should be a name for that. And obviously, he has to keep his fist closed because if he opened it, you'd see all the blood on his hands. Speaking of which, how about you, Fox News? You think maybe years of peddling his conspiracy theories had anything to do with this? Oh, but come on, man. You know, we have our opinion side and our news side. And come on, we're just trying to turn a coin for Uncle Rupee, you know, sell a few lubricated catheters. Like those lubricated catheters, you know where you can stick your excuses and you can skip the lubrication.